The content of the last lab actually it was talking about the about the functions, functional programming, and we deal with creating functions to achieve the realization of processes. We will continue in the same line. What we have to recognize is that we are going beyond the how to solve issues now, using functions or not. What we're going to see today is the context of usage of classes. We are going to use a new feature, a new, let's say, approach to solve problems still. Actually, it is one of the ways we solve problems. It's not the unique solution to the context we are going to see today. This task actually we solved last class. It was, I'm going to start with, even though, just to make the thing clear. Yet, first introduction is that we are dealing with how to solve problems. It's not just solve a problem. We are not just creating PHP solutions, PHP web applications only, but we are dealing with the best way how to create a web solution. What is the best web application solution by following the best solution technique or something like that. So the classes is one of the features we are going to learn today. We are going to practice actually. You know in theory what is a class, but let's see it in real play. Small recap and let's solve the first task, which is asking us to create a sort of a calculator to make the addition of two numbers only, but using two different approaches. The first one using a static parameterized function, and the second one a static non-parameterized function. We'll use actually both of them, the functions, static functions. Yeah, I'm gonna use them within the same block, one parameterized, the other one non-parameterized. Let's dig in. New notepad. I'm gonna just start a new notepad. Immediately I'm gonna start my PHP block. I'm not going to refer to anything actually here. Immediately, I'm gonna create a first parameterized function. Let's say to do the addition here. Let's add numbers. Yes, let's say add numbers here. Non-parameterized. I'm gonna say let's use the first one, which is the parameterized x and let's say x1 y. That's it. Simple. I'm gonna have a scope. So from here to there. That's it. Just here, I'm gonna say dollar result equals dollar x plus dollar xy. Sorry, simple. And I'm gonna just make a return. So here an equal result. What I say, the addition is concatenation dot dollar. I'm going to say result. Semicolon. That's it. Enough. I'm done. So I created a function that has two parameters. Not like in C++. You do not have to mention the data type. It would be recognized by the interpreter later on. The process is to add those two numbers and store them, affect them to this variable here, declared variable here, and then after an output. Let's create another method. Let's get another method, another function. But it is a non-parameterized one. This one I'm going to say add, say numbers. Here, no parameters, scope also. Here I'm going to say dollar, let's say x equal 5, for example. Dollar y equals, let's say 5, or whatever, any number. And then after dollar result equals dollar. You'll understand why we are just writing the thing this way. Dollar y. So here we have the same result. Maybe when I bring an output, I'm gonna say the same copy here. So here dollar result. Enough. We did it. So the addition is result here. The addition, let's say, I'm going to say addition number 2, whatever, leave it like that. So here, actually, what is the difference? Why should I program this way or this way? We will see in the output later on. We will see in the output just in a while. Now I'm going to save this program here. Actually, we have a clearly an addition of two numbers using this function, and also an addition of two numbers using this function, and let's see the result. So the echo here is the output, and the echo here is the output. I'm going to save the file. Save as. I'm going to give the name my ID, and then after here I'm going to say static, let's say functions dot PHP all, and just save static functions ID static functions. Okay, I'm gonna refer to my to the online solution. Let's choose the file. Static functions, let's say. Where it is, here it is, static functions. I choose it, upload it, let's test. Okay, so fatal error, he said cannot redeclare add number previously declared in, something like that. So the first problem here is that we cannot use the same name. We cannot use the same name this way. Actually, I'm going to use it, but later on when we define the class. But for now, to solve this problem for now, I'm going to change the name here. So I'm going to refer to this. I'm going to say here, add numbers. I'm going to say add numbers 2, something like that. So numbers 2. I'm going to say file save. I'm going to just previously choose it again and upload it again. Static functions, this is the one. Okay, upload, test it. Okay, errors at all? No errors at all. It is working very fine without any error. No output even. Let me just see, sorry, not this one. Let me see the source, view the page source. Nothing is empty here. Nothing is there. What does it mean? Means the process has been done, but no output. What should we do to bring the output? Just call the function. This is a function we have to call it. This is a function we have to call it. Here, I'm going to call this function. So I'm going to use the name here. Copy and paste here, semicolon. First I'm calling this function. And the same way, I'm going to call this function also, but here. After that, semicolon. Very easy. $X here, I have to replace it with a number, let's say 10. And $Y, I have to replace it with a real value, also let's say 7, for example. So when we make the call, they have to be really represented with the real values. Here, nothing to be represented. See the difference now. This is a parameterized function. This is a non-parameterized function. Nothing to be replaced here. Just call the name. That's it. File save only. I'm going to make save only. On the previous, choose it. The same static function. It is the one. Upload it. Test. Okay, the addition is 17. The addition is 15. It works very fine. What are those 15 and 17? Here, when you say 10 plus 7, it is 17. Correct. And 5 plus 10, they are 15, which is correct. Let's bring them in one line each. What should we do? Here, after this result, I'm going to concatenate a BR. Good. I'm going to concatenate it here also. Great. So save, file save only. To make them just in one line each. Previous, choose it. Static functions, this is the one. Upload. So it works very fine here with one line each, in one line each. Perfect. What is the point here? What is the relationship? Let's just match exactly what the question is asking us. We need a static function, so I'm going to say static here. I'm going to say static here. It's a static function. Finish. It's a static function here also. So clearly mentioned here. Just it is a static function. But static functions, they do not run by themselves. They have to be declared within a class. File save. I'm going to see what is the output now. I'm saving. I saved. خلاص. Let's just dig in. See what is the output when we just mentioned that those are static functions. Upload. Test. parse error. It's an error. We cannot actually call a static function like that or define a static function like that. We cannot call it later on. We cannot make the call if it is declared as a static only. But they have to be inside the class. To do so, to fix this issue here, since it is a static, I have to declare a class. I'm going to give it the name here, static objects. I'm going to say static objects. That starts here, the class, and I'm going to close it after all. Finish. خلاص. Here I finished everything. So I'm going to save now. I'm going to make save. So I have everything solved. So the class has been created and it has been terminated here. Good. Save it. The file is saved. Let me just go previous. Upload the same program again. Static functions. Upload it. Test it. Still the same thing actually, and he's still calling the same same annotation. We cannot make a call. We cannot make a call. Which call? Those two calls here, this one and this one. I'm going to change it into command. I'm going to change it into a command. Just demonstrate, check if it is just this is the error or not. I'm going to just previous upload it again. Upload it and test it. Yes, it works without any error. There is no error now. There is no error at all completely. Let me just view the source. Nothing is there. It's empty. The page is completely empty. Nothing is there. What does it mean? We have no output, no execution at all, but there is no error also. So we need an output. So this one, it does not have to be in command. I'm going to call it, but after the class. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut and paste it after the class here. And the same one, same thing for this one. It's not a command. I'm going to cut it, cut completely, cut and paste it after the class also here. Both of them after the end of the class. This is the end of the class. This is the class. The end of the class. Outside of the class, I'm calling those two methods. Let me save and see now. Previous. Choose the same file again. Upload it. Test it. What an error here. Completely dangerous step we did. We cannot call actually to a function which is already declared as a static function. And not only declared as a static function, it is not recognized because the scope of this function here, it is inside the class only. It can be utilized here, this block only. This is the scope. We cannot call it outside. To call it outside, we have to create an object from this class. Sorry, an object from this class. Otherwise, we cannot call. The correct syntax to call those two functions, this one and this one, is the following. Since they belong to the class, we have to create an object from this class. Copy the name here. I'm going to say before the call, after the class, after the class here, just here. I'm going to create an object. I'm going to say obj equals, I'm going to say new, the same class name. This is the syntax here. Actually, I created an object that represents this class. The class is this one, and this is the constructor. We will define later on what is the constructor. This is the main behavior definition of this class. It's the same name of the class, but we added parentheses. And this would be a constructor. Okay. Through this object, copy, paste, we will reach the method, this one. And through this object, we will reach this method, the second one also. Since they are those methods, those functions, both of them, they are from inside this class. So this object that represents this class would help us to reach, see the symbol here, minus greater than. It looks like an arrow. It is like an arrow. Yes, we will reach those two methods. Let's see the execution now. Will it work? We will see. It depends on the static word only now. Only the static would have an effect, either to allow or not. Upload, test. Parse error is not a fatal error. Parse error, it's not a fatal error. OBJ here, it is not expected to call actually a static function. It is not actually utilized in this syntax. What I'm going to do now, What I'm going to do now is just to make small modification to just make you feel the effect of this static. This word static, I'm going to delete. Class. I'm going to save now. And I'm going to upload the same file again. No static. And I'm going to upload the same file again. The one. Upload. Test. Still parse error. But here, actually, let me check what is the error message. Syntax error expected OBJ. Line 18. Did I make a type or something like that? Here. Yes. OBJ. Yes, great. So here, what we are, he's saying actually, we are not expecting to get an OBJ. We want to change this operator to be a scope resolution operator, and this way we see the result now. So because we are not using the static method, no more, no less, just saved to be sure, upload it again. This is the one, upload, test. Still, he's saying, but in which line? In number 18. I'm missing something. Syntax error. Be sure if I missed anything. Yes. Just to understand the error only, see what I'm doing. And later on, we'll upload it. Yes, that's it, upload. Still, he's saying syntax error only. Check the limits. Just give me a second. Static. Remember that the variables in PHP, they are with dollars. Remember that the variables, they are with dollars only. So the OBJ is not It's not C++. So the dollar here is the first thing, and I'm not going to mention the class name. So the dollar obj clear. So save. It's because the error was syntax error only. The same file. Upload test. The addition is 17. The addition is 15. So here, really, because we are using actually normal functions, we are not using anything. See the syntax how I used the thing. I directly using the object that represents the class itself, I was able to access the method. I'm going to just make a second output. See what I'm going to modify. I'm going to copy paste. Here. I'm going to say here, let's say 20. And here, let's say 5. Here, I'm not going to make anything, but the name is not the object. I'm not going to use the object. I'm going to use the constructor itself. Copy this one here, paste, and this one here, paste. So I'm calling the class itself. The class itself. So this is the name of the class. The same name of the class. Copy. It's the same name, yes. Paste. It's the same name. Save, and let's see now. So we have 4 outputs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Previous, choose, upload it, test it. 4 outputs. The first one, the second, the third, the fourth. 25. Why? Because we said 20 and 5. 20 and 5. So we had the output. I'm going to save this file differently. Now I'm going to keep خلاص. This one solved. Now he's using the non-static functions and parameterized, non-parameterized. Let's make this solution, but using the static functions. I'm going to file save as. I'm going to say static functions 2. Make it different, no more or less. Save it. خلاص. It's static functions 2 PHP. Okay. I'm going to here say that this function here is a static one. So before of it, I'm going to type static space. Static. That's it. That's it here. When I just mentioned those things here, we get another syntax error. Save and test it. This function 2, this one. Previous. And choose the function 2. This is the one. Upload it. Test it. It works so far. It works so far. But even though the syntax, actually, I'm going to just still control it differently. I'm going to use this object to reach those methods using the specific object pointer, which is the less than, greater than. Less than, greater than. This one can be utilized only because we are declaring functions that they are actually whatever. Now let's see with the static functions, if with the static keyword, not function, with the static keyword, if this pointer will work or not. Save first. Previous. Upload, choose it to. Still, it works very fine. So actually, we may see actually the interpreter is able to understand what we point in here. But this is an indicator that we are referring to a function which is through an object defined in a class. This one is a static method pointed by a class, yes, but actually it is a static method that we can point at any time, whenever we need. No need for an object here. This is the theory, but a real plane, this is actually the role of the interpreter to make them actually be readable or not. He's not giving us an error here. He did not give us an error. Static methods. He was able to point. Actually, he does not have to open. But even though, so those are 2 syntaxes we may refer to. Either we point or we use the scope resolution operator. Both of them, they can give us the access to a method generally. And in our case, function or static function defined inside a class. Okay. Task number 2. Let's move. We are given actually a context of class that has to count the number of elements. We are saying the sheep here number we are going to count using a constructor. The secret is that we have to use a constructor to count the number and display the result. And not only constructor, this is the first solution. The second solution, we need to use a function which is to be a non-static function. So two functions to do the sum or the addition of the number of sheep, sorry, in a farm using two dedicated objects, a constructor and a non-static function. Let's dig in. A new notepad. Actually, I have a solution ready made. I'm going to just discuss it. So here I'm declaring a class that has actually a scope that starts here and gets closed. Here is the class scope. From here to here is the class content. Since we talk about the first thing, we need the constructor from this class to make the count or to make actually anything. To make a work. A constructor that makes the count of whatever the process is. What is the constructor, first of all? It's a method at the end of the day. It's a method, the constructor, but has to have the class's name, the same spelling. Here it is. It's a method, since it has a parenthesis after, so this is a method. And we use the word function. So, khalas, this is the constructor. What is the scope from here to here? In our example here, we are just saying that this is a message only. It's a constructor that has the same name. What does it do? It can have all the capabilities of a function. We'll modify it just in a while. Then a non-static function, this is a function that it is belonging to a class, so it can be considered as a non-static function that has the name fun, whatever. It is counting the sum of two numbers, locally declared and initialized. A second non-static function, but parameterized, that also does the sum of two parameters, two variables, two, let's say, numbers, which are the two parameters, and bring them an output echo. Here also there is an echo. Now the access to those methods and to this constructor, see, we have a method, two methods and a constructor. The access to the constructor is different, completely different than the access to the function. See here, a function has to be called. Here it is a call. We are calling the function fun, which is non-parameterized. And we are accessing the second function, foo, which is parameterized. It has parameters. Using this syntax, see, object of a class, this is the object of a class, the same class xyz, the same class xyz. We are accessing the function fun, and the function foo, the function foo. Very easy. Did we call the constructor here? Here it is, the constructor. Okay, this is the declaration of the object of the class. We saw it earlier. When we declared the object here from the class static objects. This is the call of the constructor. But did we have any output? No, we had only the output of the addition, the four messages, due to the four echoes here. Echo. We call them 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 echoes we had, 4 messages. What does it mean? Means there is no effect of this constructor. And this solution now, no, there is a difference, because we have a declared constructor that has an echo here. It has a process to do. Let's execute this program. I save the program with the ID constructor.php. ID then constructor.php. It's all and save. I'm going to replace it, whatever. Okay, let me upload it. ID then constructor. This is the one. Upload. Test. User defined constructor without params. What is this? This is the message from. No, this one. This is the message from the constructor, from inside the constructor. Then after a break, new line. We had the first call of the fun. What is the fun? This is the fun. It declares and initializes 2 variables, then the message with the addition here. A plus B means 10 plus 8, 18. Here it is. Perfect. Then we had a third call, the foo, with 10 and 20, 30. So here the output of the foo, and the 10 plus 20 is the 30 here. Here it is. So this is the output of the two methods and the constructor. The constructor is being also executed in this program without any failure. So the constructor has been here. The constructor has been executed without a call, just by the declaration of the object of the class. Let's modify a little bit this constructor to do also the addition. Let's say here I'm going to declare two variables. $b equals, let's say, 5. So we have two variables of the vault 5. Okay, I'm going to say an equal here. The number of available sheep in the farm is between two parentheses $A plus $B. Yes. Concatenation. But here, don't forget. And I'm gonna concatenate it with the BR. Simple. Oh, خلاص, we did it. Added second echo in this program here in this function. We'll in this constructor, and we'll see if it will be actually brought in output or not. Save, previous, choose the same yes ID constructor, upload it, and test it. Yes, the number of available sheep in the farm is 10. What is 10? 5 plus 5. Here, the 5 is for B and A. So 5 plus 5 will here B plus A equals 10. That is the 10. Perfectly working. So this message has been actually been brought an output without the call, still with the same syntax here in the definition of an object of the class. So here we reach the level of defining a class that has a constructor and a non-static function to make the process, which is the count of the sheep in the farm. The name here XYZ, XYZ, and then after here XYZ, here XYZ in small with a dollar in before. These actually user-defined name, group of user-defined names. Here is the name of the class. There are no parentheses here, no parentheses. This is the name of the constructor. It's a method, so there are parentheses here. Then here the call of the constructor. The constructor has parentheses. Here, declaration of a new variable. It's not the same name. It's in small here. And a dollar before. So this is a variable. This is an object of the class that uses this constructor, or that defines this constructor. Through that object, we reach the content of this class. The methods which are defined. Fun and foo. As per the rule here, you just I'm gonna just call those methods, but using the scope resolution operator. The rule says actually it's not accepted because they are not static. It has to give us an error if we use this syntax here. But we will see the interpreter capabilities. These are real plain. The theory says that this is for pointing a static function inside the class. It's a scope resolution operator, and we'll see if it will give us an error or not. Previous, choose the same file, ID constructor, upload it, test it, no errors, and we have the output again duplicated here. The same output, we are getting it in duplication here. What does it mean? It means the second process has been run without any error here. It did not fail. It did not fail. So the interpreter is able to understand this annotation here, and he can solve that. While the theory says that is only for the static methods. I hope that everything is clear in this step. So the theory says something, and the in real plane the issue has been solved. So the interpreter has the capability, is powerful enough to trespass this problem. I'm going to write a command here. A static methods call. And what is it? The scope resolution, let's say operator, is for static methods call. Static methods call. Okay, what is the scope resolution operator? Those are the 4 dots. Let me save. Okay, let me execute it again. Only demonstrate that. Let me change the numbers even. I'm going to say here 55, and let's say 2 only. It's enough. So here we are using 10 and 20. Here we are using 55 and 2 with the static indicator scope resolution operator. Let me save now and choose it again. ID constructor, upload it, test it now. It works very fine. 52 plus 2 is 57. That's perfect. It works very fine without any failure. So we were able to see the capability of the interpreter on real plane and the theory, let's say, rules. We are able to use either the object annotator, the pointer, or the scope resolution operator for the static methods. So yes, on real plane, if you work something like that, actually it is to give you a result. But it is not the correct one. This is the correct one for the non-static methods. This is to be for static methods only. Remember that. Let's pass to the last task. Here, actually, it is another case study scenario, let's say. We need to create actually a PHP solution that manipulates the global variables using the 2 global server variables, which are the post and the get. In this scenario is the pharmacy medicines. We are going to submit the medicines, names, and let's say prices, quantities maybe, and manipulate that means receiving and storing and let's say displaying the result using the server global variables, the post and the get. Those are predefined global variables. Predefined global variable. They are server side. So let's dig in. New notepad. Immediately I'm going to start my PHP block, and in between here I'm going to define so before I do anything actually in this PHP, so remember he said that we have to use the global variable, the post and the get. We need to have a form to submit the post and the get. As per the definition, the get would be passed in the URL. The post would be hidden, something actually just passed in the submission form, but it is not visible in the URL, the values. Let's create the form that submits those medicines details. Let's say the name, quantity, and price. In the same notepad, after the PHP, outside of the PHP, let's say I'm going to create a form. I'm not going to create an HTML body. Immediately I'm going to create a form only. The action, it would be the same page, and the method, let's start with the get method. And I'm going to close this form. In between, I'm going to create the input point. Input for the let's say name of the medicine. I'm going to say name equal med name. Placeholder. Let's say I'm going to say equal. Let's say name. 3 dots. Okay, close. One. Next also, but for the let's say quantity here. I want to say here quantity. Last one. I'm going to say price. Text name. I'm going to say med price. I'm going to say price here and placeholder. Yeah. Let me just test that. And before of that, let me just create the submission button and put type equal submit, which is the button, and say the value equals, okay, let's say go, something like that, or submit, or send, or save, something like that. Type submit, save. Okay. I'm going to give it the name also equals submit medicines. Okay, close. One word, no space. Notes very well that I did not use the quotations here and here and here and here. Why? Because I'm not using spaces. So it will work. It will not give us an error. I'm not using quotations because I know the nominations, they are correct. I'm not using spaces, so it would be accepted. Let me save this file. File save as ID. What would be the name here? I'm going to say pharmacy.php. All the files, UTF-8, just save. Done. The name has been saved. Let me just upload that. Previous. Choose the file. ID pharmacy. Where did I save it? Here it is. The ID is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I made a mistake. Whatever. Okay. Upload it. Test. Here it is. Name, quantity, price. Name, let's say here, whatever. I want to say here, fields. Quantity, I'm going to say 1. Price, I'm going to say 1,000. 1,000 base, yeah. When I say save, see here. Name, mid-name, fields. Quantity, 1. Price, 1,000. It is visible. All the details we submit, they are visible. I'm going to submit now without writing anything. Nothing, empty. It has been submitted, but no result. The name is nothing. Quantity equal nothing. Mid price, nothing. It works very fine. But what is the work very fine? The submission of the form content, it is to...
Excuse me, Mr.
Yes, tell please.
What is meaning when you write the maiden name placeholder?
This one?
Yeah.
This user defined means here in this input point here, and this box here, the name, I'm going to write the medicine's name. User defined. User defined means I can change it here. When I say medicine name, it's the user defined to indicate what this tag is for. I'm going to use it to write the medicine's names. This is the name. This is the name of this object, which is a tag. The box head, it is an input text box. See what I'm going to do. Right click, inspect, med name. This is the name of the object. No, it's user defined. Means I can't change it. User defined. Remember, user defined. What does it mean? It is something to use it in the program later. I changed it. See here, I changed it here to medicine name. What is that? This is the name. The name of what? This object. What is this object? It's an input. It's type text. I'm going to type here something. This thing here, I'm going to read it later on in another page. How I'm going to read it? Because of the name. I'm going to save this modification. I changed the name now. I'm going to save it. Now I shown you when I do right click inspect, the name is med name here. The med name. I'm going to just upload it again. Previous. Choose it. 1, 2, ID pharmacy, upload, test. The same form, but when I do inspect here, right click inspect, the name here is medicine name. Medicine name. It has been changed. What? Just let me explain. You see the effect here. Now, in this program here, when I write anything here, for example, I said bills or pills. Sorry. Then quantity, I'm going to say 1. Price, I'm going to say 1,000. Submit, save. They are being written here. See here the name. The medicine name is pills. The quantity is 1. The price is 1,000. So it is prescribed here. I need those results to be displayed in my page, inside the page. Let's do so. Come back. Inside the PHP here, I'm going to write the name of the medicine that have been submitted. To do so, I'm going to write, since the method is get, I'm going to say echo space $_ same name here. Copy. The name is user defined and paste it here. Then close. And another echo for the quantity and another echo for the price. Here for the quantity. No space. And another one for the med price. User defined also. Copy. Paste. So echo medicine name, echo quantity, echo med price, medicine price. Let me save. Echo means the output. Save and let's execute مرة ثانية. Previous. ID pharmacy, upload, test. Nothing is here. I'm going to say here pills, for example, any name. Quantity 1, price 1,000. Save. See here. Pills 1,000. So it is being written on the page now. And all of them in one line. I'm going to just segregate them into different lines. So here, dot underscore BR. I'm going to copy it. Paste it here to make them actually in one line each. File save. Previous. Choose the same file. Pharmacy. Upload. Test. Nothing is there. I'm going to say pills. Any name. So here just for test purpose. 1,000. Pills. 1 and 1,000. So perfectly works. Here is using the get method only because the method is get. I'm going to change this method now. I'm going to save this file again with the name pharmacy2. Leave it. I'm going to create a new one. Means file save as. ID. I'm going to fix the ID. So correct it. Pharmacy2. Pharmacy2. Okay, done. Pharmacy2 saved. I'm going to change the method to post, not get. Only. So I only change the method to be post only. I'm going to save and see if it will give us the result or not. I will not modify. We need an output. Echo. Let's test this pharmacy2. Pharmacy2, what it is. Here is pharmacy2. Upload it. Test. Nothing is there. I'm going to say pills 1, the same values maybe. No output. Nothing. No output. Why? Because in this pharmacy2, the method is post and we are written using get. It will not be displayed. I'm going to change the get to be post. Get, I'm going to change it to be post. So the method is post here. Let me save only pharmacy2. Previous, choose the same file. Pharmacy2, this is the one. Upload, test. Okay, let's say pills 1, price, save. Here they are, pills 1,000. And the most important thing is that they are not being displayed in the URL. They are not here visible anymore. Because the post is not like the get. It does not send the thing through the URL. It is being submitted, yes, but in an encrypted mode, so it cannot be visible. It's just a value in the header, PHP header, submit to the server. It will not be read through the URL, but the values, they are there. We can display them. Using what? Using the post global variable. So the same result we got, but differently. It's hidden. It is encrypted. It cannot be read here. Done. I'll stop the record and then I'll submit it to you just in while